What's up guys, Spin Firearms here, and a video you've seen a lot lately on the channel is the Stoeger STR-9 subcompact. Now it's been out for a little bit, it's just been hard to find, right? Subcompacts are sort of thrown to the side right now. The big hype is the Micro 9s and the X Macro, and I get why, right? It's an absolutely awesome system, awesome technology. That's why I have so many Micro 9s. Shout out to SIG for basically starting that whole trend with the P365s and stuff like that, because those are all awesome firearms. But when it comes down to it, those are Micro 9s. We're going to be talking about subcompacts. And these, I think, are great for many reasons. I think this is the best size firearm for someone to start on. I think it's great because they don't get used to something like a full-size firearm. They're not used to carrying or shooting this big, heavy firearm that, you know, has low recoil and stuff like that. And then they go to carry and realize, oh my gosh, this is uncomfortable. I'm printing. They're self-conscious in public because they have a big frame or grip just sticking out, and everyone knows you're carrying, right? A subcompact tends to be thicker, right? It tends to be about the average width of your average Glock. So if you've ever held a Glock, it's going to be the width, or your average Smith & Wesson M&P compacts or subcompacts, stuff like that, right? Or your CZP 10 series. They're going to be like the thicker firearms, right? But they're going to be very short in the grip, like a Glock 26, right? Like this Ruger STR-9SC, very short in the grip, which is very essential to concealed carry, right? Very easy to hide this part, right, when it's short. For me, it's very easy to hide the width. So I can have a wider firearm as long as it's shorter. Some people, it's the opposite. But at the same time, with all that width and size and stuff like that comes shootability. So someone who's getting new into firearms, right, you're still getting a wider, a bit heavier than your Micro 9s and stuff like that, but that helps with your recoil, especially on a polymer frame with a heavier, thicker slide. That's really going to help with recoil and muzzle flip and stuff like that, which is huge for a new shooter, a new person to conceal carry, for getting comfortable with firearms. Also, a lot of them have magazine compatibility, right? So I can take the magazine from my Stoeger STR-9SC, which is the larger version, but you're not giving up all this extra length in the grip. But I can take the mag from it when I get home, right, and put it in my subcompact, get an extra 3 rounds, and I now have a home defense firearm that's going to have an extra 3 rounds and still run reliably, because it's meant to take those other larger magazines. So the subcompacts, like the Glock 26, takes the 10-round OEM mag all the way up to the 33-round OEM, which is basically, OEM means made from that same manufacturer, right? Not an aftermarket mag. So it can take a 10-round mag all the way to Glock 33-round mag if you really wanted to. Another thing is, in the summer, it's still very easy to conceal, but like I said, in the winter, you can take a 15-round mag or larger mag, throw it in there, and conceal it under your jacket or whatever the case may be. Not be outgunned, but still be comfortable. You're not rocking a 4-inch barrel, 4.5-inch barrel all day long, carrying appendix and getting rashes and just getting uncomfortable. You're still getting about a 3.2 to 3.6 is roughly where all the subcompacts stay. They're all a little different, but they're all going to be roughly 3.2 inches to about 3.6, 3.7 inches, which you're still going to get decent velocity. It's not going to be as short as a Micro 9 like a 3-inch barrel, but at the same time, you're getting comfortability, right? You're going to be comfortable all day long. Now, something I like about the Stoeger versus the Taurus is the quality. The Taurus has been 100% reliable. Both my Taurus G3Cs, I want to start off by saying, have been 100% reliable. Not a single hiccup, have ran everything, right? But I also don't carry them that much. I don't holster them that much. I shoot them a lot, but I don't holster them that much. And they just get crappy looking. They get beat up. They almost look sort of junky. And that sort of messes with my confidence of it. The Stoeger actually feels and looks quality, right? And over time, I've shot this Stoeger about the same amount of times as this Taurus G3C, and look at the difference. Overall finish, stuff like that, that does matter to me. Now, also what I like about both of these is they use the same system as Glock, basically. Both of them take Glock sights. Both of them take down like a Glock, so it's very easy. If you know how to take down a Glock, which is about the easiest firearm to take down, then you will know how to take these two firearms down. I do like the overall texturing on the Taurus better. I think there's less recoil in the Taurus as well. I don't know why that is, but I don't like the trigger guard as much. I do like that it comes with a rail, but the Stoeger comes with a rail too. Overall, a good firearm, but for the price, I do think the Stoeger is a little bit better. I think the quality control of Taurus is still on the sketchy part. Even though I've gotten lucky, I still think it's a little sketchy, especially with the Taurus GX4 recall coming out. That is sketchy. Also, something people don't realize about the Taurus G3C is that it has restrike capabilities, right? So if you get a light primer strike, right, you can go back and you can keep pulling that trigger. I don't like the false reset on the Taurus. But anyways, you can keep pulling that trigger until that round goes. You can't do that with a Stoeger. Will this ever be used, or, you know, is it something that is worth having in a firearm? I don't know. I'm not sure why Taurus put it in there, but other companies don't. But when it comes down to reliability, it's a toss-up for budget firearms. But my Stoegers have been flawless. I absolutely love this thing. What I have noticed about this, though, is there is no aftermarket support for it. The Taurus has all the aftermarket support in the world. It's one of the most popular firearms in the world. It was one of the most sold handguns last year. The Taurus G3C and G2C have been one of the most popular firearms in the world for the last couple of years, and that has been huge. Whereas the Stoeger, I've heard many stories of people trying to find magazines for their compacts or larger size firearms, and they just can't find them. And the Stoeger only comes with 1 mag. The Taurus actually comes with 3. And Taurus uses Metgar for their mags, so you know they're actual quality, good mags that you're going to be able to find basically anywhere. Whereas your Stoeger, they have their magazines made in Italy. I'm not sure who makes them. They're really good quality, but you just can't find them anywhere. And also with a firearm that's not popular like this subcompact right here, it is very, very hard to find those. Like I said, the biggest thing though is holster options, and that's big for me. If you're going to be carrying a firearm like this, you need a good quality holster. I do love the serrations on it. I do love the overall look on it, but what I really like is that trigger and that trigger guard. Look how big that is. Look at this Taurus. That trigger never gets depressed, so literally that is the amount of room you get for your finger and a glove. If you live somewhere cold and you wear gloves and are going to ever be carrying a firearm with a glove, you need to make sure that your trigger guard is big enough to fit a glove finger in there without interfering with that trigger. And the Stoeger, cleared, always cleared prior to the video, right? Leaves a lot of room for a glove finger. I love that flat face trigger. It's a great combat trigger, and every single thing functions on this firearm basically perfectly. So I absolutely love it. Very crisp controls. And let's just do a size comparison real quick. 12 plus 1 on the right, 10 plus 1 on the left. So you can see where Taurus is getting those extra 2 rounds out of the magazine, which it is what it is. You can use the larger magazines from Stoeger in this firearm. So this magazine right here will go in here, but you're gonna have a really hard time at closing that gap, which I'll show you what I mean. You're gonna have a hard time getting a piece for that, right? So a lot of people could pinch their pinky and stuff like that. You're getting the extra 3 rounds from the compact, but you are risking having your pinky there and pinching it and surprising yourself and just being uncomfortable shooting it. Whereas the Taurus, they make all the large magazines for it, but you can find the sleeves everywhere. You can find comfortable sleeves, textured sleeves, sleeves with logos on them. So you can basically throw larger magazines in here and be very comfortable as well. Both firearms have good ergonomics. Like I said, both are not going to break the bank. Do I trust one more than the other? I sort of trust the Stoeger more, but I have no reason to at the moment. Even though the Taurus sort of ends up looking crappy in the finish and stuff like that, it's all about how it runs, and I haven't had a single issue on it. Also, the other bonus of the Taurus, if you're just getting into firearms, is you can get them with safeties. You are not going to be able to find a Stoeger anywhere in the world with a safety, but if you understand the Glock system and that these are basically Glock clones, you understand that this physically cannot go off unless this little dingus is pulled and the trigger. So you can pull on that trigger all day long, nothing's going to happen. Something's got to be pressing this down, and it's got to go all that way before it can go off. So these are safe firearms. You don't have to worry about having a manual safety on them, but I do get why people like manual safeties, especially when you first get into carrying. But very similar firearms, both great firearms for the price, both good overall firearms, not for just for the price, right? But you got to give a shout out to companies like this. They are arming Americans for cheap, people on a budget that, are just trying to get something to protect themselves for the time being until they can save up for a different firearm. You can't go wrong with something like this. So I do like firearms like this, and there's a reason I get them. I'm not just going to say, oh, you got to go out and get the X-Mac, or you got to spend $1,000, $2,400 on a Staccato, blah, blah, blah. Because there's firearms out there that you can afford, that are going to be reliable, and are going to get you to your next place in life where you can go out and, spend, you know, the 800 on a Glock with a, you know, a Gucci build or something like that. So absolutely awesome firearms. I love both of them. You really can't go wrong with either of them. Both of them are great first firearms. But if you are looking for something that you know you're gonna is gonna go more, I don't know how to even say it. If you're looking for something that's gonna tend to be more reliable, you would have to, you know, start going the $400, $500 range, the Glocks and stuff like that. But for the time being, as long as you vet your firearm and shoot your carry ammo through it and it runs, then you should be fine. Anyways, guys, I appreciate it. That's a Taurus G3C versus Stoeger STR-9SC. Thanks for watching.